welcome back to another episode with me, the Hidden Medium. We're going to dive right into today's episode, which is titled, Does a Medium Feel the Deceased at a Funeral Service? Now, a funny thing happened while I was creating this vlog. I realized that explanations that I have given to non-medium friends about their own psychic experiences also happen to me. I like to think that I'm always calm and receptive, but we all have our moments of heightened emotions. At least we do while we're in this living human form, as opposed to the spirit form. That's what happened while I was writing this post. I thought about editing it for better flow, then thought, I'll just leave it alone. I decided to put this little prologue instead, perhaps to keep you listening because you want to know the twist at the end, perhaps to help you understand the importance and impact of really journaling to understand your own thought patterns. With that, let's answer the age-old question, does a medium feel the deceased at a funeral? Now, sometimes yes, sometimes no. The dead know if we can handle it or not. They know if they should let their presence be known. If I'm close to the deceased, like in the case of my brother-in-law or my grandparents, they will let me have my grieving period. They have given me the time to process my human emotions before they start piling more on. For that, I'm very grateful. However, I've definitely been to services where I knew the individual was in attendance, like either standing right beside me or hanging out in the back of the room. When my best friend's father passed away, I knew he was at his service. The girl and I had been friends since kindergarten. Her dad wasn't known for liking too many people, but I was one of his faves. When I was young, I was probably like 7 years old, he and I got into an argument. I pulled up one of the kitchen chairs and climbed on it so I can argue with him eye to eye. Since that day, I solidified myself on his favorites list. He'd always laugh when he would tell that story, and he told it all the time. It was the first thing whenever he met someone new. He was very proud of me for standing up for myself. When he passed away due to the damage caused by the Agent Orange used in the Vietnam War, he came to me in my dream that very night. I have never actually had someone come to me so quickly after their death. However, he and I did have a special bond. Her parents treated me as if I was their second daughter, which means at times I got in trouble right along with her. He wanted to make sure I reminded my friend how amazing she is, that she is smart, beautiful, and can accomplish anything. I didn't really need to be told to be her hype woman. I've gladly had that position since the day we met, but he wanted to ensure. Later that day, my father called me and he asked if I had heard anything. And I said, well, I spoke to him last night. He came to me in my dream, so now I'm just waiting for the phone call to inform me that he passed away. I'll keep you updated. Not long after I hung up with my father, I got the call. My friend's husband called letting me know that Pete had died peacefully in his sleep. I acted as if I didn't already know. Immediately after we hung up, I called my parents. Now, since I had already known he wasn't doing well, I had already booked plane tickets so I can fly up for a visit. So instead of saying goodbyes in the traditional sense, I spent the time consoling my girlfriend. One thing that's misunderstood about me is that I'm not always as sad as people think I should be when someone passes away, especially those that do not know my secret, and they also don't realize that I don't cry in front of people. If I'm grieving, leave me alone. I will cry, but I will always cry by myself. Perhaps I view crying as a weakness and I don't want anyone thinking I'm weak, but it's mostly because I don't like people feeling sorry for me and I don't like all the attention on me. Maybe that's also why I choose to stay hidden. Whichever. So people cry when you pass away because they realize that they're never going to see you again. I kind of know I'm probably going to be seeing you again, so it's a little different for me. People get upset because they're unsure what happens after you die. My ideas are pretty clean cut. I do believe the Bhagavad Gita states it best. A worn-out body is shed by the dweller. My friend had a quaint little service at a VFW hall. Folks would get on stage and say something about the deceased or tell a funny story. And my dad leaned over to me and told me about a conversation he had with the deceased. He was dealing with a landlord of a property he managed, advocating for the renter that hit hard times, convincing the landlord to give the renter a week of grace period, which the landlord eventually did. My father asked why he advocates so much for renters, and to which he answered, because no one else will. My father said, I wonder if he will ever realize how much that story made me respect him. I looked at my dad and I was like, he definitely will, since he just listened to the entire thing. And my dad just smirked. He has been standing in the back of the room listening to every word, I explained to my dad. The writing of this blog made me recall a time I told a friend that her third eye chakra is extremely active, and it's like giving spirits a hurricane to pass their messages through. But give them a calm and balanced chakra, and it's smooth sailing across calm waters. I began to realize that perhaps my close relatives were at their own service. I was just too emotional, and the sensitive medium part of me was clouded to the messages. I was giving them a storm when they needed calm waters. That was my self-realization. Maybe they all attend, and sometimes I'm just too emotional to realize it. Anyway, that's my reading for today. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. If you love this episode, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and feel free to share with friends to help my channel grow. If you have a picture you would like to submit to me, you can email me at thehiddenmedium@gmail.com or just follow me on Instagram at thehiddenmedium and you can slip it into my DMs. I'm also doing daily tarot card pulls on my Instagram, so you feel free to follow and get some daily inspiration. Thanks for listening.